Hello there, people, and welcome to yet another episode of Dark Hour. Interesting piece of news we should probably talk about before we get into it. I know it's really random to try and talk about it here, but well, I don't really otherwise do anything besides these videos and whatnot. So here it is. Here's a little talk. Let's sit down and talk, Jimmy, about the future of robots and cyborgs. Yeah, Jimmy. Don't you know Jimmy? Jimmy! Jimmy! Jimmy, my boy! Jimmy! Yes. Okay. So, what is this talk on today? A long time ago, in a galaxy out of this world. Okay, let's see here. I actually talk about the fact of the matter that basically one of the head people at Google has basically been talking and saying something along the lines of the 21st century shall basically fade away in history. Nothing is going to be permanent, and that everything will eventually fade with time, which is kind of very logical. If you've been looking at like a lot of news of what's been going on lately, archive.org has been having some things and whatnot whereby it's concerned about its future. Now Google's concerned about the future, and Google, of course, is tied with YouTube, so that's just absolutely brilliant. And so, yeah, basically, we're all gonna fade away into nothingness. Well, that's just a happy thought. I feel a lot better knowing that. And here I was thinking I'd be remembered in 500 years as being that annoying random dude or whatever. Hooray! For obscurity! See? I shall go down in history as the Q2 of people. Yes, I'm the Q2 of people. Wait, is that an insult? I had no idea what I'm saying myself. Hooray! I am the Q2 of people, the most obscure random thing ever. And well, probably in 20 years, you won't be able to see any of this. That could be a problem. But yeah, basically what I'm saying is, live in the moment. I think like PewDiePie even has like said that he's basically going to be deleting his channel, and I think deleting a channel basically means that all your content on said channel disappears. So you're saying when one of the biggest YouTube channels in existence is history disappears, that might be a big problem. I would understand, like, wanting to start over or whatnot, but why not just create a second channel and keep the primary one as, like, a history archive? I don't see why you'd want to delete a channel. But then again, I'm not him. I don't have his views. I'm a very random person in comparison to that. I don't watch any of his videos. I'm basically, I haven't even watched the one that he basically said any of that, and I basically just read a media source, read a blurb for 2 seconds, and now I'm reporting all this stuff to you guys. But yeah, after that video, what I talked about recently, whereby I basically was talking about the state of games and how in the future we might not be able to play all this old stuff. Now this is basically almost coming up further. It's the fact of the matter that everything might disappear in the future. Not only old school mods, besides those that are found on old school CDs maybe, if you can actually get like an old computer to play the old stuff, if it's emulated or whatnot, but everything that's on YouTube, every video, everything. So yeah, basically what I'm trying to say is live it up. Live it up in the moment. I think everyone thought GeoCities would be around forever. That was a pretty big and popular website. And then everybody's websites went down. So yeah, don't expect any permanence here. Don't expect permanence really anywhere. I wish I could offer something that was a bit more permanent. I'm the type of person who honestly likes stability, but really the internet's not a stable place. So at the end of the day, this is really just kind of let's do this, have fun, and well, let's see, where it leads us. I think certain things in the past have happened to other various sites like Vimeo or whatnot, and it basically means that it could happen anywhere. Like I said, I guess the main reason why it compelled me to talk about it was because Google was talking about it, and Google is tied to YouTube. So when Google is saying something, you kind of want to pique your ears and say, why are they saying something and being concerned about the future? You would think they would be, of all companies, being more like, well, this company's going to be around for a bit. But like I said, you have to remember, you think of a lot of companies that were around 20 years ago, and a lot of them are fading into obscurity. AOL? I don't know the last time anyone ever bothered with AOL. Like I said, GeoCities especially. Angel Fire? Honestly, is Angel Fire even around? I honestly have no idea. But yeah, I think like Usenet still exists as like supported by Google, so it's basically like some archived thing. And usually digging through all that stuff is more like not exactly the cleanest interfaces or whatnot to find anything. A lot of stuff's password protected in there, so you can't like download a lot of files. Trust me, I've tried. I tried and download all the random Usenet files of yesteryear, and that really doesn't work out too much for me. So what I'm trying to say is, basically, we're already kind of having like obsoleteness in certain things. It's really up to a heavy popularity in the first place to even get it worthy of being archived. So, yeah. What I'm trying to say is, at the end of the day, don't expect anything to be permanent. It's more short-term, enjoy it while it's here, enjoy, just seeing something. We don't know when it's going out, but enjoy the party! Yeah, party while it's here, and that's basically how I'm going to basically treat this. I don't think I've ever really played it out like any type of long-term goal. I mean, I basically just did. That's basically been my mindset the entire time. Just do and play. And, well, that's basically my mindset still. Play and do, and, well, we'll see what happens going forward. I'm hoping that we have, like, a long time of this, and that things don't change up drastically. If this goes down, of course, we could just jump somewhere else. And I doubt it's going to happen right away at all. But times change, things change. Who knows what's going to happen in the next 20 years? Like I said, just a weird reflection thing, because you gotta think back to the days of Quake while you're doing Quake, and so you end up starting to think about how much has changed, and how much probably will still change. So yeah, that's just a lot of randomness. Anyway, let's actually get to the more important stuff of today, which is actually playing Dark Hour. Oh my god, we just spent 8 minutes of a video, we didn't even talk about Dark Hour at all. I'm a terrible person. Seriously, what am I doing half the time? And then I wonder why, all these videos are lasting over half an hour. Yeah. The interesting thing about this level, Abstractions, I already told you guys last time, is the fact of the matter that Abstractions is, well, the last level in the cycle, the last level that was created for Dark Hour. But yet, because of the fact of the matter that we're playing these chronologically due to the campaign, we're playing it now. Like I said, it's a really confusing order or whatnot that we're really going to be going through this time. But just stick with me. I'll lead you through the mess. I am your Dante. Well, I am actually your Virgo and you're the Dante. And together we shall transpose ourselves through hell's 9 dimensions. Or should I say circles. And, well, I have no idea where I'm going with this. But yeah, basically Abstractions. basically, like I said, the big thing about abstractions is the fact that I have a lot to cover about water elevators. Other than that, the main thing I really should talk about with abstractions is the fact that it's basically the first level of Dark Hour if you're playing these in alphabetical order. Which, as I kind of said last time, is basically how you do it for these level select type levels. Because say you get a convenient list of levels and they're just sorted by alphabetical order, what's the first thing you're going to do? You're not going to scroll down a random list and click one of these random levels. You're going to probably choose the first one in the list. So of course it's going to be the first one alphabetically. And so therefore, the first one alphabetically, a Dark Hour, would be Abstractions. So yes, basically speaking, this is probably your first impression of Dark Hour if you were playing this by yourselves. Kind of like how entering Soldier's Alert was the first impression of Q2. And what a terrible level that was! But yeah, Abstractions is a much more promising one. It has a lot of textures. It's a very interesting level, to say the least. I mean, it's in the name. Abstractions. But it also definitely represents a lot of what Dark Hour is about. Perhaps because it's the first level, but really, it definitely feels like the spirit of Dark Hour, in my opinion. It really, it almost is, whatever the first level is of a pack, is really what captures that experience for you. At least in these two. Aftershock is a bit different. But yeah, for these two, the first level you play is probably going to be what gives you the experience going forward. And so Abstractions really, to me at least, captures what a lot of Dark Hour is about. Anyway, this level's made by Ivan LaPalme. I have no idea what else he made. Look it up on Quake. I documented basically every author and what else they did. If they've done anything else. I usually write up something very, very simple, and then basically, as we continue along, I am able to tie in to other things. And so basically, the details kind of get drawn out from basically doing everything. Anyway, it's a giant level. It allows for 13 players in deathmatch. And it's a very large level, as I just kind of said, with every conceivable peril. Lava, lifts, slime, teleport, and water elevators. Yep, it says right there, water elevators. And that basically is where I got the term water elevators. It doesn't tell you what a water elevator is, but of course during the course of this level you see what they are. And basically because of this one, because of Flooded, you start realizing that it's a consistent set of rules. It's a consistent hazard. And thus the reason why I felt it had to be documented. I don't go out of my way to document every random thing that shows up in these levels or whatnot, because usually they're pretty useless one-off little gimmicks. But in this case, it was definitely like a hazard that pretty much felt like a part of Q2, because of Flooded having it as well. So yeah, actually I'm not too sure if it is featured in any other levels but these two. I'm trying to think off the top of my head. Yeah, honestly, my memory escapes me, but honestly, as far as I know, Flooded had the first example, and Abstractions is where it's most heavily featured, but I'm not sure if there's really any other examples of them. I actually don't believe so. No. So yeah. Hopefully you like water elevators, because this is really where most of them are. So yeah, watch your step. Not as all as it seems. Yep, it's a very abstract, confusing level. Basically, I have like played, in the past or whatnot, and one thing that is very memorable about this level is that it's confusing. For a player that doesn't know what they're doing, it can get very confusing to figure out where the exit is. If you're pay attention to verticality and the world around you and whatnot, it definitely will make sense. But at the same time, it's that type of thing whereby a player used to conventional Quake and only thinking with that mindset is probably not going to think of this right off the bat, and probably will just run around in circles over and over and over. So yeah. Anyway, let's load this thing up and actually see what we have to see this time around. Shut up, Q2. Dark Hour. Honestly, that's one thing. Dark Hour sound effects are nice, but they're also a pain in the butt because nothing works, and I kind of have to load it up just to see the descriptions. So, yeah, it kind of gets a little bit annoying when I'm just trying to do it, and basically just read out the description and basically have to listen to gunshots because the documentation doesn't exist on the level. Yeah, it'd be nice if they just had a separate readme or something so I didn't have to deal with that, but it is what it is. Like I said, Dark Hour has a lot of flaws, but... And I forgot to, of course, load up Abstractions. I actually don't even think I would over the file. I'm proud of myself, people. I keep forgetting to do this stuff. Yeah, actually no, I think I transferred over the file and then I just forgot to change the name. Yeah. That's the thing, you'll remember like most of what you need to do, but then you'll forget that last detail, like, you know, change the name and the map that's supposed to load up, and then everything gets messed up. Especially when I just kind of came from Q2, where if I had been doing this for every level in Q2, I probably would have been trained in doing it. But the problem of the matter is, I'm not. For Q2, we had a nice level selecting that worked. So I was able to use that and got used to basically just being able to load up a level select thing and call it a day. And now all of a sudden it's like, surprise, now you have to type in the name of the level every time. It just feels a little jarring after what I had to go through last time. Like I said, the first time around I basically was typing in names every single time, so by this point I was totally used to it probably. But this time, because of the fact of the matter that I was doing a level select screen before, it feels very, very new to me. Like, you know, even though it's not, it's definitely a different experience than what I had to go through before Dark Hour. And we've only been doing a few Dark Hour levels, and here we are! Yeah. And this was basically how the first sight of Dark Hour was for me. Yeah! Basically, the first thing you'll see right off the bat, well, besides the fact that we only have 18 enemies, which is a very small amount of enemies, but ignore that for a moment, and instead pay attention to how the level looks. There is a lot of bloody textures in this one level. Yeah. That's basically one thing to say. After we went through all of Q2, which basically was one texture hellholes, all of a sudden we jump into this, and now we have a bunch of textures just thrown about everywhere. It's definitely like a weird, chaotic mess that's also at the same time glorious in comparison. It's like basically a escape after so long of being imprisoned in Q2's monotonous nature. This was basically like a guy yelling, "Enough!" And basically doing the most anti-Q2 thing he could, which is throw a bunch of lava everywhere and make it into weird blocks that are just sitting there. Honestly, it's weird. The description said lava and water elevators, but honestly, the lava is vertical, so wouldn't it be a lava elevator? But yeah, he's the one who basically said water elevators and lava, so I'm basically going off what he said. This is apparently a lava, not lava elevator. Learn the difference, people. There's apparently a difference. I'm not really sure what it is, but he apparently knows. No, God, zombies. Now we just need to find something to actually kill them. One interesting thing, lava will actually hit you. You can walk right into it and it'll hurt you. It's definitely a very, very weird design. if you're used to any conventional sane Quake logic. But at the same time, it's glorious for that because it's so unique. You know, this is something you're not going to see in Q2 or in regular Quake. Anyway, let's actually get upstairs. We need to get some ammo. Right now, I don't exactly have any guns or ammo or really anything to use. So I'm just going to kill this guy and hope for the best. Oopsie! I didn't mean to do that! Oopsie, I apparently just used the Thunderbolt. Checkerboard? Okay, not sure what that's about, but checkerboard! Hooray for a grenade launcher! I could definitely use that. Yeah, this is a very chaotic level, if you haven't noticed. Oh look, free armor! I don't know what I just did to get that. Yeah, this is a level where I don't know what I'm doing half the time. Let's kill these random zombies. Okay. So, if you can see here, there's two types of water elevators. This is the type of water elevator we saw in the previous level. Where it's just like it did in the previous example. You go up. Oh god, Death Knight. Let's just shoot him down. Die, die, die. Yeah, that's an interesting message that only appears, you know, on this wall. It's a very weird custom message. But it does show that custom messages do make a return in a dark hour and rare things, just like how Q2 had it. And here's some random lava if you want random lava. Yeah, I think the die message is gone now, but yeah, it's just a random little message. Hole in the wall, okie dokie, not sure why, but it's there. Are you disoriented yet? Oh god, I'm in lava! I'm in lava, I'm in lava, I'm in lava! Get me out of lava! Oh god, what's going on? I don't know what's going on, help! How'd I get up here? I have no idea what I was doing there, people. I wanted to come back down here and I got totally lost in what I was doing. Yeah, that didn't go exactly as planned. At all. I blame everyone! Oh look, a nail gun too! I don't think I got that last time. Strange! I got another gun! Hooray! Who gets that one? I got another gun! A gun I didn't get before! I got a golden ticket. I got a golden ticket. It involves explosions. Oh yeah, there's also water up there. In case you're wondering. There's water everywhere in Q2. Oh, hi there, random zombie. Uh-oh, I got another pentagram. Now I'm compelled to use it. Great. I was going to actually talk for a second. Guess I can't talk. I have to be the hero. Sorry, people. I have to be the hero. Ooh, look, a rocket launcher. I could use that. Uh-oh, spawn! Hooray, I killed a spawn. Worth it. I have no idea where I am, what I'm doing. I'm totally lost at this point. The world's chaotic. I'm trying to figure out where I'm going, people. I might be a little disoriented. Just a little bit. Stealthy! Yes, this is exactly what I needed. I needed to be stealthy. Okie dokie. I'm being super stealthy right now. Ooh! I see a shambler. Yay! Dead shambler! Okay, that worked perfectly fine. Now I believe Where's this go? The living dead! Oh god, a fiend! Yeah, this is not exactly going as I planned. I haven't had really a moment to talk or breathe. It's just kind of chaos and getting lost. But I'm trying to get there to actually explain some things. Oh look, another pentagram. I have no idea what I'm doing. That actually pretty much explains everything. I don't know what I'm doing. Hooray! I'm somewhere else! Seriously, what am I doing? Where am I going? Help! Help! Somebody help? I'm kind of lost here. Let's see here. Can I just try and figure out like a way down? Okay. Oh look, a free nail gun. Oh no, I need to get a free nail gun. And exploding enforcers. Brilliant. I like exploding enforcers. Okay, I think we have a moment to actually breathe now that I've basically killed everything in the level. As long as we don't walk into lava, we'll be fine. So yeah, there's basically two types of water elevators. The type seen here, which is your blue water elevator, and then you have one over here, which is basically a brown water elevator. So, what is the difference between these two? Let me try and explain. You see, a blue water elevator is, well, you might say that it's like, it has no surfaces around it, but then you have this, which is basically the same thing, but has containers around it. Basically, the big difference is the size. If you notice, a blue water elevator is basically a perfect square. It is pretty cube, like a cube in design, and it's just a simple square. Rectangular in nature, goes up, but square in shape. This is more elongated, a lot more elongated, and that definitely is like a significant detail there, is that this one is a lot more stretched out and brown, and so it goes a lot longer across, and that's pretty much the main difference. Yeah, it really is pretty much the same in functionality and whatnot. It just has that little cosmetic difference. Plus the fact that these are usually pressed up against the wall, while these have usually like multiple corners exposed. So yeah, hooray for random details. This has been Random Details with Deathstalker. See you next time on why the Earth is around. And yeah, I basically went through most of this level while being chaotically moving around and bumbling around like a Chris Farley movie. So yeah, hopefully you understood what in God's name I was doing, because I sure don't. Lava everywhere! As you saw, basically walking into lava, oh, it causes pain! Like, well, this isn't pain! People! I'm feeling severe pain right now. I just am not seeing that. Well, this is interesting. Pain? Oh, good! Okay, we have learned a lesson about lava. Oh yeah, actually I remember that. Ow! Yeah, see, a lot of these lava things, they hurt, but then there's that random one whereby it only hurts when you jump. And let me actually try and get some health resources. But yeah, basically that's a thing of lava. It tends to be pretty funky. Oh god, get me out here, get me out here. Phew! Just hug this wall and get down. But yeah, basically lava is, well, if it's basically like raised, like it is here, so you didn't really get to swim in it generally in Quake. Usually it's just surface level. But here it can be really like anywhere. And the thing is, if you're like above the area where it actually well, below the area it actually causes damage, you can actually walk in it and not get any injuries until you jump or whatever. Usually when you jump, it usually becomes damaging to you, as you kind of saw. This is definitely one of those examples or whatnot, but there's definitely others. You'll see that a lot more when you get to Aftershock, but apparently it exists here. So here's at least one example where it exists in, you know what point I'm trying to make. So, here we are, basically where we were trying to go, at least I'm assuming. I honestly have no idea at this point. Yeah, it's pretty confusing, but basically what you want to do is drop down here, and then basically go through this water elevator. Get the quad damage, and now we murder everything! Well, that was easy. Well, the nail gun, that'll make it even easier. Wait a minute, how do I get forward? Wait a minute here, something ain't right! Oh wait, this is water. Swim! Swim for your life, fishy! Okay, we get through that. And another quad damage! Wow, 2 quad damages in a row. Amazing. I basically had to move really slow to even get rid of that first quad damage. But yeah, look, a cross. Random cross! And if we walk forward, you'll drop into a teleporter. And now we end up here. Hooray! Shoot this random ogre, and he's dead. And that pretty much is everything. Well, except for the fact that you can see the exit sign everywhere. And by that, I mean literally everywhere. Look how many times they can say the word exit. Like, isn't this a bit redundant? Couldn't you, like, have it, like, along the frame here? Did you really need the entire line of this? Exit. Exit! I hope this is how you exit the level. I need to rocket jump to the ceiling to exit, apparently. That's what they're telling me to do. We also have this random waterway here. It does basically, you think it do, it basically just leads back. Only one problem. We kind of want to get up. Oopsie daisy. But, we can always rocket jump up there, right? No! Well, that really didn't work too well. And now I have lost a lot of my health. Hooray for Terrible Ideas 101! Okay, into the teleporter. Get totally lost. Get crazy! Over here! Over there! Somewhere else! Where am I going? I don't know! Oh, God lava! And here we are! Hooray for my totally reckless maneuver to wander out aimlessly and find my way back. It probably wasn't the most efficient way. I probably could have taken the safe route and actually, you know, only took like a few seconds more. But recklessness, especially since, you know, it doesn't really matter since we'll be just doing shuck and start to start the next level anyway. So, yeah. Bring it on! Let me at him! Let me at him! And there we are! So that's basically Abstractions. If you have any idea what in God's name was going on, yeah, as I said, it's a good representation for Dark Hour in general. Very, very abstract level design. Lots of chaos. Definitely different than, say, like, Q2 or whatnot. And a lot more experimental in nature. I think that's a good way of saying this pack, is that it's a lot more experimental, it feels like, than something like Q2, which felt very much one note, play the same thing every time. Everything in Dark Hour definitely feels like a different experience. I mean, look at what we had so far. This doesn't look a thing or feel a thing like Doggering does in any way. Doesn't have the lag issues we saw in Office Hell. Doesn't have the multi-building action things that we saw in Nightmare Tower. Like I said, every level we've seen so far has been a totally different experience. And I think that's really one of the reasons why I like Dark Hour so much at the end of the day. Because it doesn't feel one note at all. Every level isn't definitely the best. In fact, a lot of this stuff isn't the best at all. I would say, you know, this is a little random and chaotic, and what in God's name am I doing? But at the same time, it's brilliant for that. The randomness, the abstractions, the chaos that basically ensues from all this. And the fact of the matter that every single level feels different. That really is at the end of the day, the best thing about this. The fact that I feel like I'm not playing the same thing every time, and if I don't like one level, I can go to the next level and play something that feels entirely different. I mean, this isn't a thing like any of the earlier levels, and I think that pretty much could be said about all of them. And so that's the brilliant thing. Going forward, you don't know what you're in for in this pack. Unless, of course, you've looked on Quake and whatnot and seen exactly all the levels, because I've documented them in the past. But yeah, if you're basically playing this blind and not really looking at documentation or whatever, you have no idea what you're in for. And that's a brilliant experience, honestly, in comparison to something like I said, like Q2. And even Aftershock. Aftershock pretty much plays like standard Quake levels or whatnot, and has that standardized nature, which isn't bad. It definitely could be good in some ways, as it feels more like regular Quake. But the problem is, it doesn't feel as experimental. It doesn't feel as drastically different as, say, like here does. And I think really at the end of the day, that's why I preferred Dark Hour. I feel Dark Hour was a more good pack in general. Because it was more single player oriented, and because it was so experimental, it wasn't the, you know, pack offering the best quality overall all the time, but at the same time it was, because of its experimental nature. It allowed for so much different stuff and interesting stuff, and it definitely is, you know, perhaps its closeness to Q2. I mean, I just finished Q2, and now I'm able to play something that's drastically different than it. But it definitely feels like a breath of fresh air, and I just love the variety of this pack. I know I've complained about some things, especially with the beginning levels, but I feel definitely that a lot of those things have worn out. And that the pack is getting a lot better. Okay, and next time around we have Fleshville, so that is good to know at least what level I'll be showing you guys next. Now if I could type in quit, I could actually get the program. Okay, so yeah, Dark Hour is not without flaws at all. If you saw my introductory video, you know exactly what I mean. The loader itself is pretty bad. I mean, its primary function is abysmal. It doesn't work in basically the one intended thing it should do. And that alone is a pretty horrible thing. But it kind of goes back to that standard that I basically said before, I guess at the beginning. Kind of like where I complained about DOS lots. I said that it's basically the idea of something that never works right versus something you have to fight with a bit, but you can get it working. And basically Dark Hour fits into the latter. You copy the levels from each of these. It's going to be some tedium. It's a pain in the butt. But once you transfer over all the files, you can load them up and play a little mini campaign. And at least the levels, you know, like I said, a lot of people would complain about the levels having absolutely no consistency whatsoever. But I actually like that. I feel like the lack of consistency whatsoever is really what was the best part about Quake. I feel that really captures what was the best about like Quake in particular, is the varied environments and the insane things that we could go through, and the different worlds and the different things that we constantly be thrown into. The fact that nothing felt the same And so stuff like this, which is so drastically different, feels like it complements it in a brilliant way. Um, like I said, it's definitely a pain in the butt to set up. It would have been nice if it had been a one-click button, get it work in the first place. And I still don't like some of those earlier productions. Like I said, Office Hell, that's a terrible mission just because of how horribly optimized it is. Not even the copy paste, not even everything else, but the fact of the matter that it caused me so much frustration when just trying to play in DOSBots means that it's a horrible level to play. But at least in everything else since then has been pretty fluid, and honestly, it's making me feel a bit better about the whole situation with DOSBots, because if you heard my rants on that one, you have known I kind of was really getting down because of that mission. So having things kind of come back and prove that it really was just a one-time thing with that mission, and it was just that mission being terrible, is definitely a complimented thing. Now, there's still a lot of issues, like I said, that mission works perfectly fine if you do in GL Quake, so it's still showing that DOS Quake has a bunch of limits, and those limits are a pain in the butt, but at least it's not, like, as easy to hit the limits as I was almost worrying it was going to be. And I guess at the end of the day, that's kind of what makes things a little bit better. And I do have to say, the experience isn't as enjoyable as, say, I was doing it in GL Quake, just because things are still clunkier, things aren't as smooth or as optimized, but at least things are working a bit better now, at least for the time being. And the fact of the matter is, as I've been trying to say, it's every level is totally different. You know, everything has felt totally different. You know, Office Hell was one of those failed experiments, but the fact of the matter is, because it was still an experiment, it was still drastically different from everything else. And even if it's terrible, I still prefer something like that over something that's monotonous in nature and basically beats out the same thing that's halfway decent, but it's the same thing every time. I think at the end of the day, that's kind of what exactly Dark Hour versus like Aftershock really comes down to. Aftershock is the experimental add-on that has a lot of new features and whatnot that are interesting, while Aftershock more beats to the beat of original Quake and tries to make it more resembling what the original game had, but in doing so, loses that experimental edge that makes it fully entertaining, like Dark Hour is. That isn't to say Aftershock is entertaining, but it definitely lacks something. It lacks a certain feeling, in my opinion. And I think that really is what it comes down to, is the fact that it doesn't have that experimental nature. But we'll see when we get there. Maybe I'll have a bit more to say then. I usually have a lot more to say when it's fresh in my head, which is why exactly I give these rants at the end. Because usually I end up getting a lot more to say after I play through a level and get to reflect on it. And that's usually where these massive rants come up. So, yeah. Hopefully that explains a bit more exactly why I prefer like Dark Hour and why exactly I give the dark answer. Dark Hour is probably the best add-on I've played for Quake out of the 3. So hopefully we'll continue going forward, and I'll be able to show you guys some of the other little experimental things Dark Hour does. Like I said, you get to see wide elevators, which was the main hazard that Dark Hour featured. It's not unique at all to Dark Hour. Other users were creating stuff very similar, but the big thing to mention about Dark Hour is that it had its set of conventional rules between brown and blue water elevators, and the fact that it had the name in the description. So yeah, it feels a bit more like an actual named hazard. It feels like more of an actual entity than, say, some of these other add-ons where it feels like just a brushed over, it's a block of water. The end. So, in a way, it feels like it has substantially more value in Dark Hour than it does somewhere else. Anyway, I really think I've been rambling for long enough. I stretched this out a lot longer than I intended to. Maybe because I rambled at the beginning, I said I stretched out 8 more minutes than usual. But now it's stretching out even further because of this rant at the end. I'm just terrible when it comes to talking. Yeah, I'm getting really, really enthusiastic or whatnot, and Dark Hour, there's a lot more to talk about. And the weirdest thing is that at the same time, it's like when doing the level itself, it's almost hard to really explain too much. Because it's a fast-paced game, and the level goes by so quickly that I don't feel like I can accurately cover everything during the course of the level. Plus, a lot of this stuff comes on basically reflection, on looking back on the level as a whole, and not so much when it's actually playing through the level. And so it's not as easy as just giving commentary while shooting things and me be able to cover everything then. But yeah, here's another ramble for all you guys who want to hear some more of my thoughts. Anyway, hey, who knows? Maybe it'll be like it's useful. After all, some people like, talk radio or whatnot, and basically love hearing people's opinions. Well, here's my talk radio. I ramble about terrible Quake levels. Yeah, terrible or obscure Quake levels. What a brilliant talk radio thing to have. Yeah, a person stuck in 1996. Hey, it could happen. A crazy guy stuck in 1996 who is obsessed with random obscure levels that nobody else has touched. And most people probably don't even believe exists. But anyway, I've been rambling for long enough. Thank you very much all for watching. It's been an adventure, and I shall see you all next time.